computer. Oh, Celia's here. Oh, I'm recording. Did you get a message?
No, it just says recording.
Okay. Do you want to take them? The cleaner's here, so
Okay.
the dogs are going to start barking any moment now.
Okay.
Oh, I
No
can
problem
stop
for me.
though, but then it's going to be choppy. I'm not going to stop it. Whatever. This is real life, right? This is what we're doing.
This is real life. So I want to tell you something. It's weird how once you get, of course, you know this, once you get one tattoo, it's not long before you desire another one.
Right.
So I have this kind of empty space on my forearm that I'm looking at. And I texted my tattoo guy this morning and I said, hey, because his wife told me that he had an availability today at 12.
Oh.
This was yesterday when I was debating between last night and today.
Yeah.
So I texted him and said, do you still have availability at 12 today? Because I have this idea. I've wanted to put a witch's broom on my arm with a moon and a snake.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, why the fuck not?
So you're going back?
Are we? I don't know.
Okay.
He hasn't replied.
Oh.
So we'll see.
So let me see the arm here. So because you're like heading towards sleeve care quality here.
Yeah, but just lower. So here's
that's the
one that I got.
The OG.
The OG. This is the second one. I have like a tiny little.
Oh, that's on
thing.
that. I for some reason thought they were on the same arm. Okay, you went to the other arm.
No, so yeah, I started with that, kept that over there by itself, and then
yeah,
and I got that last night.
Nice.
And it's interesting because I have this wrap on it, and there's one star that looked perfect last night. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's just oozy or like some of the ink, just wasn't washed off. So it looks really like a mess. So I'm excited to pull it off. I'm just trusting the process that everything is well and good under there.
And how long did it take?
I would say from start to finish, him actually putting the needle to arm, probably an hour and 15 minutes. Not very long.
And didn't hurt? Did. More than the last one? Because the last one you said felt like a little cat scratch.
Little cat scratch. So that was an 8-hour stick and poke tattoo.
Oh, because, okay, yeah.
So this was obviously a tattoo gun. Is that what you call it? Tattoo gun, electric tattoo, a standard.
It's called a gun, but I don't know.
Just a tattoo pen. There were some parts that the darker lines where he pressed harder, those were shockingly painful. But I would say only like a 6 out of 10. But everything else felt kind of therapeutic.
Really?
Like it felt very meditative.
Hold on. Hold your thought.
No problem. Puppies.
It'll just be a second. Let me think. Let me let him out. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay. I'm holding.
And coincidentally, do you hear the other dog chewing? Hold on, it's not going right now.
I've heard a noise in your office when you've done your videos, and it's like a very rhythmic sound. Yes. And I imagine it was your dog's.
Okay. Is it not distracting, or is it?
I can't hear it right now.
Well, she stopped. Yeah. She has an everlasting chew toy. Here.
Oh, okay.
Listen.
Yeah, that's what I've heard before. It's not a big deal.
Not distracting. Is it distracting for the studio audience?
Is it distracting that I'm drinking a smoothie?
And I'm having coffee because I only had 1 cup this morning.
Oh.
And I need the 2. I don't know, it's mental.
All right. I have a question for you.
If sound gets distracting, just tell me and I'll move her.
No problem. I have a question about your coffee. Do you drink it in a standard 6-ounce mug, which is the actual serving size, the official serving size of coffee, or is it like the 12 to 14 ounce like I drink? Oh, see, yes.
So my Keurig, I am on the 12-ounce setting. So I have 12 ounces of coffee in there with your same, what do you use? Heavy cream or half and half?
I use heavy whipping cream.
See, I do the full fat half and half, but I add sugar, raw sugar.
Raw sugar. I feel like we say these things like raw sugar or coconut sugar or whatever the thing to make us feel like we're actually doing something healthy for ourselves. I know, I do it too.
No, I need not a lot. It's like a teaspoon. So it's like better than it was before, for sure. I've progressed, you know, used to do the coffee mate, like
Oh yeah, that's
not even real.
I did too.
Right? It was just like plastic,
powder,
liquefied, flavored.
Oh, so I did like the old school powder coffee mate
Oh,
back when I was in high school and I would drink coffee.
oh God.
Whatever. I know.
Okay, so we were talking about your tattoo though. So
Oh yeah.
this one hurt much less. 6 was the highest pain.
6 was the highest pain, but it was still enough for me to like have to take a deep breath. And at kind of a midpoint, he stopped. He sprayed a bunch of lidocaine on it and then wrapped it, and I sat with it for like 10 minutes. And I think it really helped for the shading part, because that was pretty easy.
Oh, good.
So I don't, you know, it was an experience.
Yeah.
And it was fun having Kate in there doing his, it was like a double date.
So did he get his hair cut too? And colored?
That's today. He gets it bleached platinum today.
Today. Okay.
And then he got his tattoo is Roman numerals. Did I show you that? Right under his collarbone. And it was it's April 26th, 2017, which is the first time he had testosterone.
Wow.
So kind of a big, yeah.
Does he love it? So you said he already has 7. So that's 8, number 8.
That's number 8. He has 7 all on his forearm.
Oh,
so this was a new spot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. See, all mine hurt like hell. Like I wanted to die. Like it hurt so bad. But I think it's the spots they're in. Like I have one that's like on right here.
Your star.
And then lower back, tramp stamp. That fucking hurt. And then the one here. Yeah, like they all hurt really bad, like bad.
And you've picked like very tender, tender spots.
I know,
and I think
right?
with the forearm, there's not a whole lot of, it's not very, I mean, it's sensitive, I suppose, when you rub it, like if I'm scraping it, but.
Yeah, but it touches a lot all the time, right? Like I picked spots that you don't touch a lot, I guess.
You don't, right, so you don't have that.
Sensitive. Yeah.
Yes.
Penny drew, when we just got home, she drew a tattoo on her, like right here.
Oh.
The semicolon.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know what that is. Like what? Yeah. So.
You know what? That's Claire's, that's her first tattoo. She told me last week she's going to get a semicolon.
No, really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think she really takes her allyship seriously, and she knows, you know, some of Caden's story and that it's really important. Like when people, it's like signaling when somebody sees that, maybe that will remind them to keep going or, so for her, it's, I don't know that, and that's the thing with her though. She's not always upfront with all the stuff going on inside of her. She doesn't share a lot of her internal stuff.
Yeah.
But she says she wants it like a huge semicolon, like taking up her entire arm. I was like, really? Do you think maybe a smaller one on your wrist? Or she's like, no, I want it big so people can see it.
Wow. Okay.
Hey,
do your thing, man. Maybe I should put a semicolon at the end of this. It could be "you are enough," semicolon.
Love it.
Like you complete the sentence, right? Like what's next after that?
Okay, so when are you going to get this done?
Well, after this call, I'm going to look and see if a local place is open and I can just walk in. Ain't got nothing going on today. We'll go.
Yes. Look how wild we are.
We are wild. We are totally unpredictable. Wild. Hold on. She is back to me. Let me give her something else.
No problem.
I'm gonna give her a bully stick. Now she has a bully stick. That should be quieter.
Oh, I can see her crate. I didn't know the crate was there before.
Yeah, I opened it.
Your hair looks beautiful, by the way.
Oh my gosh, the chiropractor was like, what is happening? Like, who are you? I normally go in, like Greg tells me that, usually about 50% of the time I look like I just walked out of a men's homeless shelter because I wear old school Russell gray sweatpants that are like 2 times too big for me.
That's so
And
good.
his old sweatshirts that he wanted to donate to charity, but I was like, no, this is super soft and cozy. I don't donate this. I want it. So I throw that on top. No makeup, no hair. It's all, And today I walked in and I didn't have glasses on. So I was like this. I was like, hey, I'm here for my assessment.
That is so good.
They were like, what is happening? So I told him what we were doing. And actually he's like interesting guy. Like you can have interesting conversations with him. And he told me about this thing called, I was just looking it up before you joined. Let me find it. It's called, A Course in Miracles. Have you heard of this?
I own it. It's somewhere
Do
around
you
here.
really?
Of course I love. I own
the like
it.
28-day workbook thing.
It's not 28 days. It's 365. It's when there's like a student manual. There's like the scripture section, and then there's a student manual, which has a lesson for every day of the year. And then there's a teacher's manual so that you can then teach this material.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's a channeled message from kind of like a Jesus-y. It has a lot of Christian language in it.
Right.
Yeah, of course I have it. Of course I have A Course in Miracles. I have, but I haven't gone through the entire student section.
So that might be something for us to do together on a little journey to see.
Yeah.
I finished Undone last night. Remember the show that Tim Ferriss recommended?
The one with Nicole Kidman. Oh no, the anime one.
Animated, it's on Prime.
Animated.
All about like everything in my life right now, well, for like a year, I guess, is just reinforcing this whole idea of like science and what we perceive to be reality, which is not actually reality, and how small we are and how much we don't know, and really like nothing is real, like this whole thing, right? So Undone is about a girl, it's about schizophrenia, but it sort of takes you through this journey of, is it really like, is schizophrenia a problem? Like, are they out of touch with reality, or are they in touch with reality? And it's the rest of us that are like in a dream state and we don't get it because we don't see the big picture that a schizophrenic can be in touch with, right? They say like you hear voices and you have hallucinations, and right, like things that we say lock her up, like we're not, you're nutso if you hear voices and see hallucinations. But why are we the right ones, like, right?
Why is our perception superior to that when you can call, there are words for that: clairaudience, clairvoyance,
yes,
hearing things, clairaudient, clairvoyant, seeing things, clear visions, clairsentient, clear knowing. I mean, those are very metaphysical kind of words for exactly what you described. And so I've actually read things about the correlation between schizophrenia and then some of these kind of like spiritual gifts.
Yeah. Well, you'll like the
interesting.
Watch it because it goes through that, and then it really makes you think. And I mean, like why are we right? Like,
why are we right? So. And if you think about it, like even going back to the Bible, within the Bible, there's language about not seeking out mediums or oracles or anything like that, that those things are of the devil. But then again, these authors have said that God was speaking to them, and they channeled this information, much like the lady, it was a gal and a guy who worked on A Course in Miracles, much like channeled this information, right? So they say, but we deem this one book as having some very much like a lot of significance, and of everything else, less so. It's
Yeah.
just pretty fascinating when you start breaking it down.
Yeah. Well, and even further than that and harsher than that is like this book is the truth. And this is not. All these other things, no, but this one is true. This one, yeah. Like,
and this one is true because it says so.
Yeah,
because
right.
it says it validates itself.
It validates itself, right? Like, I'm right. Why? Because I said I'm right. I'm right. I mean, duh, I'm right. I know I'm right.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so we digress. Although that is sort of a good segue into our original topic, right? Which is
I agree.
Universal Unitarianism, or
It's the Unitarian Universalist.
Universalism.
Yep. Unitarian Universalist Church in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Tell me what it is.
First of all, I have held, there's a couple churches that I've held at arm's length because I wasn't ready to dive into this kind of universalist idea. Because at the foundation of who I am, I have Christian roots. And so really, I mean, I have definitely departed from that or expanded my idea of Christ, right, with my deconstruction and now kind of slowly putting it back together. But for the longest time, like the Unitarian Universalist or the Universal Church of Christ, like both of those seemed, even though they're LGBTQ affirming, and I love that, it also seemed quite a departure from, the evangelical setting that I was, most familiar with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But what a pleasant surprise.
Right.
And the goosebumps that I had, the chills for the entire hour, even with the song that I'm not sure which song was written first, but the melody was Be Thou, I think it was Be Thou my vision. And they had replaced the words with a beautiful song, which talked about all of us being connected. It was just so beautiful, and the harmonies and how they did that on Zoom. I don't know. Like, I've not seen a church service on Zoom like that. It was powerful. In that first few moments, I was kind of taken aback and surprised. How about you?
Yeah, same. I mean, I took 2 pages of notes here, and good luck deciphering them. I should have looked at them before this, but I felt like, I wrote the hymns were inclusive, right? They talk about privilege and people's rights being denied and addressing that, right? I wrote like beautiful all over the page. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I just loved the message. I felt like, to me, it feels like what I would believe God to want. Like,
right.
I just don't believe in excluding anyone or judging or condemning anyone for any reason. Like, I just don't. And so any church that I've ever gone to that has that message, or the message of performing certain acts or believing something specific or doing something specific in order to be worthy, in order to earn your place in heaven, that does not resonate with me. I feel like I am broken. I sometimes repair myself, but I always break another part. And I didn't feel judged. I didn't feel judged during this sermon, which they're using very churchy words, right? But I kept thinking, like, I don't know, like, why such churchy words? But then I guess it's like, that's what church should be. So this is like the real use of the words, I guess, right? Did that occur to you? Like the language that they're using?
I didn't have any sort of reaction to some of the words. The minister used the word faith, and I thought it was very applicable or very appropriate. It didn't offend me in any way. And I say offend, I thought it's not the right word, but it didn't like stir up any visceral feelings. One thing that I really appreciated about it, because my relationship with the Bible is quite complicated, and it has been for a few years, and maybe it won't be at some point in my life. I don't know, never say never. But I really like the fact that they did not use the Bible.
Yeah.
I
Right.
was very grateful for that, because I think that I have gone to this cute church nearby. They're wonderful and they love our family. And I've helped them lead their music for multiple years of their vacation Bible school for their kids, and have gone to the services kind of around that time of year. It's in the summer. And even something is like, it feels a little scratchy
Mm-hmm.
when I hear doctrine spoken about, the cross,
Mm-hmm.
virgin birth, like all of these kind of things that I'm really questioning at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It was just refreshing
Yeah.
yesterday. It was so refreshing.
I agree.
I felt weepy.
Yeah.
And then when the minister started getting emotional and like
Yeah.
covering her face up, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it just
Right. I
unloaded.
agree.
Yeah.
I had chills. I love they did the whole Brene Brown thing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh, because like she's my hero, right? I just lost my train of thought.
One thing that I was thinking about, so I really appreciated that they spent some moments talking about the events of this past, 10 days or so.
100%.
But what I loved about it, because it's really easy, I think it's just natural and like default, not conscious, to get upset and to see things as us and them, and bad guys, good guys, like very dualistic. And what she did instead, she was talking about President Trump from I think a really beautiful place of compassion.
Yeah.
And trying to understand
Mm-hmm.
what went on for him.
Yeah.
That he is not able to reveal his entire, like, we all have sacred stories.
Mm-hmm.
And those don't just include the good parts or the parts that we deem acceptable, but they include the things that we have fucked up on, the things that we have, and I'm going to swear, I'm not going to censor myself here in this space.
With you. Yep.
Because why? Because that's definitely a part of my vernacular for sure. But really looking at him from a compassionate place.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's hard for us to do as humans,
Mm-hmm.
but it was so refreshing then to be just fueling the fire with our own hatred or anger, and really taking the humanity out of who he is. He's a person, he's a human being. And while he has caused harm, like looking at deeper into that, I think is important.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my.
No, I totally agree. And I think Brene Brown would agree too, because I heard her talking about this somewhere, or I think it was on her most recent podcast, where she said that she has friends or acquaintances or whoever that would say, like, can you believe this Cheeto, or, Cheeto head or whatever, and she's like, I don't talk like that. Like, our family doesn't talk like that. If we want to talk about policy and we want to talk about behavior, or we want to talk about decisions, right, let's talk about it, because lots of things I don't agree with. And, but I'm not going to shame someone in that way. He is a human, as we all are. And also making him the other. It's not okay for anyone to make anyone else the other. And that includes us and the bad guy, right? Like, who's to say who we think is the bad guy is the actual bad guy? Again, it goes like with the Bible is the actual truth. Like, who I think is the bad guy is actually the bad guy. No, like, and I love that she said, what did she say? She said somewhere along the line, and this was just completely her opinion, I think, right? But it resonated, was he learned that if you didn't have power, you didn't have worth.
Yes.
And
same thing.
Losers are not loved. Losers are not enough. You will do whatever it takes to not be a loser, and to continuously show that he has power, because he is afraid that his story is true. The story that he was taught, wherever, whenever, he's afraid the story is true.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought that was so beautiful, because it very much resonates in my heart. And it's like, I've had periods of time with him. It's been very complicated. Like, I don't like to see people as just good or right. We just talked about this, good or bad. So it's really important for me to identify moments when he has done something good, just because I think that's the whole picture. Nobody is all bad. Conversely, nobody's all good, right? But when he got corona, I remember, like, we talked about this before. My heart felt something.
Yeah.
And I know I got kind of shamed for it. Like, what is wrong with you that you would have compassion for this man who has not had an ounce of compassion for anybody in this country, as it seems, right? With his approach to handling the virus. I couldn't even control it if I tried. It was just something that I viscerally felt. And it interested me, like, why would I feel like this about somebody who has caused harm, especially to the community of people that I love so much, the transgender people, so much harm. And yet there I was feeling empathy, sympathy, whatever the word is, compassion, hoping that he would be okay, hoping that his son would be okay, his little young son, Baron, just, yeah.
Right.
So I just loved her.
I think that, people who proclaim to be Christians, who wish someone's death, right? They wish that Trump would die from this virus when he contracted it. And we're so bold as to proclaim that on social media, on a text message, on an email. Like, I don't think that's what Christianity is all about, dude. I just don't think that's what we're called to do and what our obligation is as humans. I don't think that's what humanity is about.
Right. And I agree with that. And then you have the people who last week were calling for the death of our vice president and our, Nancy Pelosi and different Congress people.
Right.
That does not feel loving, right? And what did Jesus say? Like, love God, love your neighbor as yourself. Like,
right. And God is love, right? God is love.
God, right.
So above all else, we love. That is not loving. Those are not loving words. That is not loving behavior. I don't know. Yeah, I think this place has got it right, man. I'm going to look at my notes and see if there's anything else of interest that I wrote down.
I agree. Okay, so can we talk about the gentleman who played the piano and his song that he wrote for his therapist?
Yes.
Oh,
You see me. The Mirror song. See me. I wrote.
You see me. Yes, I love the line in there that said, "I don't want you to free me, just see me." Like, no, you don't need to fix me. You don't need to do anything. You just need to witness who I am in this moment, at this present moment. I just thought it was so beautiful and so clever. And even just the way what is the rhythm of the words and how they kind of rhymed, but in a different kind of timing. The timing was so interesting, and the melody.
Yeah.
It had a very do you know who the composer is who did Toy Story?
No, I'm not gonna know.
I don't remember his name. It'll come to me, but he reminded me, his voice was kind of it wasn't super polished. I'm going deep into music, by the way. So,
yeah,
as a worship,
but I don't know what I'm going to be able to contribute. But go for it.
Randy
Gerber.
Randy. I'm thinking the composer of Toy Story, and he also did "I Love LA." His isn't that the same guy?
Seriously, I did not know anything like this. Here,
I could be wrong.
But I can Google, so I could Google it.
No, don't worry about it. But I just love the guys. He just had like this very raw voice. It was just so good. The whole thing was just so surprising and good.
And that part really made me think about friendship and the friendships that we have and that develop over the years. And I think that the best friends that I've had have been those ones that can just see me and aren't interested in fixing it, right? Like,
how
I don't need you to fix me. I don't need you to tell me. And so often what you get in those conversations is stuff you already know, right? Like logically, like I can say, oh, did I mess up as a mom? Like, I don't know. I feel like I might've done the wrong thing. But like, I know I'm doing my best. I know at the end of the day, I'm a good mom. I know that. But like in this moment, I'm just sharing with you that right now I'm feeling like I fucked up, right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like to sit with someone and just see them and hear them with no judgment, with no fixing words of advice, that is to me very comforting. And also, by the way, if you're trying to fix it, then you're really saying that what you're feeling is not okay, right? Because I'm going to tell you this thing so that you don't feel like that anymore, which means you shouldn't feel the way you feel. I don't know. I feel like I feel how I feel, and then you move through it, and then you feel better. I don't need you to tell me. That sounds so bitchy. Sorry.
No, I love it. I think it needs to be said.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, what I really appreciate is because people, of course, have opinions about the decisions we make or how we live. And when somebody asks me my permission to share then their opinion, I value that so much more than just somebody blurting out what they're thinking about me. And honestly, the way I approach stuff like that is it's none of my business what people think of me. It's none of my business how people feel or if they agree with my choices. I'm gonna follow the guidance that I have inside me to, you know, down this path or that.
Yeah, that's like an AA saying, by the way. It's none of your business.
Oh, is it?
People think, yeah, it's none of your business what people think about you. That's like one of the tenets of AA.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a hard one. That's a hard one, especially for a people pleaser, right? Okay, I'm gonna look at my notes.
Yeah.
Our worth is not at stake. These are the random notes I wrote. Our worth is not at stake. And we all have an anchoring story that needs to be about our inherent worth, right? Do not search for worth and dignity on the outside. Activate the truth of your worth from the inside. And you were saying this, the complete true story, not just the good stuff, but we have to include the painful parts in our story. But we're not defined by them, which is a Brene Brown thing that she says, we're more than the worst thing we've ever done. And I love that. I love that, right? Like you are more than the worst thing you've ever done. I love it. What about how they were saying, if you bury it, then it becomes seeds? That was really good, right? Do you remember that part? Like
right,
if you bury your shame or your pain, whatever it is, it becomes seeds and then it grows into something so much uglier and it affects so many more things rather than you just say it out loud and then it loses its power because it just comes out and it's gone. Like,
and it's gone. Yeah. I like that a lot. I feel like that we see that with people who are locked in shame. They've done something and they keep it secret and it grows and it festers. And then I think when you keep things secret, it's much easier to continue in whatever that pattern is or whatever that behavior is, because it's in the dark. And so, shedding light on things by speaking it out loud, naming it, it absolutely takes its power away. And it makes it so much easier to conquer or fix or whatever the thing is, if it's a behavior pattern.
Yeah. Right.
Or even if it's just like a single act, it does not belong inside because all of that creates dis-ease in our system.
Yeah.
And it just, it's a problem.
Yeah. It just multiplies, right? Metastasizes like a cancer.
Metastasizes. That is such a, You can just visualize how that works. Like just spreading.
Yeah. Well,
for sure.
All right. Well, I'm glad you liked it. Do you have any other final thoughts on this topic?
Yes. So I decided to look up to see if there are any UUA churches. UUC? Unitarian Universal Church.
Yeah.
I think it's
but
UUC.
I think the organization is an A.
UUA.
Yeah.
So there are a couple. churches in the area. And so I went onto the website of one of them, and they had a few of their messages. They're much shorter. They just had the message part. They had the singing bowl, kind of the bowl, the bell, that sound in the beginning, you know, that dong.
Yeah.
They had that, and then they skipped out on all of their worship stuff, all of their, you know, like the Stones for Joy and Sorrow. They didn't do that. They just did the message, and so it was lacking. And I didn't feel the connection.
Right.
And I think that was a big part of because of the minister.
Yeah.
Yeah. And newly ordained, just powerful and vulnerable. You could just feel.
Yeah.
The energy just came through. It was just beautiful. So I didn't feel that connection to the local, my local UUA.
Yeah.
So I may tune into Chapel Hill again because it was just very impactful.
And why not?
And why not? And I was looking at the bookshelf in the background while the minister was talking, and I was just wondering, so curious, like what's on the shelves. I could see Narnia. There was like a Narnia book.
Oh,
the lion.
Really?
Yeah, I could see that, but I could not see any of the other titles. But I was curious because, of course, books are my BFFs.
I agree.
Right.
Well, and that just reminded me that I just love how they said, like, whatever you believe, whoever you love, you're welcome here. And when I was talking to my friend about, like, do you know anything about this place? And she had been there, and she has a really good friend who is self-proclaimed atheist, like just like atheist, and is like on the board of directors at the congregation. And so I think it's legit. Like they really mean what they say with whatever you believe or don't believe or don't know if you believe, come with your questions. You know, on the website, it's like science, paganism, Christianity, Judaism, all the things, like whatever it is, they pull from everywhere. And at the end, they said shalom, right?
I love that. And I love that song. Yeah, I was singing it with them. It was so beautiful.
I loved it. Yeah, so I loved that.
That's so awesome.
For sure. It's like literally, I could walk there. It'd be a long walk, but I could walk there.
Really? We could roller skate there. That'd be faster.
Yeah, I could roller skate there, but it's a lot of hills, so I might die. But you could roller skate. And not
I would roller skate there. Well, you have that long road out in front of your house that just has me envious a little bit, but then we just kind of like go side to side, tack like a sailboat.
Like you're in that's how I ski. When I go downhill skiing, I go back because I can't like go too fast.
Me neither.
No, so I'm up.
Me neither. I was going to say another, shoot. Oh, I really liked in the beginning of the service, somebody from an age, some sort of organization that they're supporting, the church is supporting. For aging people. And I wish I could remember what it was called, but
Council on Aging. I wrote it down.
So what I like about what that seemed to me is that this organization, this church, goes outside of itself and does service with no benefit to itself. And it felt like their service is less performative than, say, working ministry in an actual evangelical church. And that may stir up some stuff for people, but that's okay. I think it did not seem church-centered. It seemed community-centered. Outreach in a different kind of way, in an actual altruistic way, instead of always bringing it back to kind of maybe even if it's just an unconscious expectation that people are going to accept Christ, say the prayer, you know, or become Christians or become members of the church, which I think ultimately is about, I just think membership equals dollar signs. Which also might upset people, but that's okay. That's kind of where I'm at right now with how I think of like the structure of a church. But this felt different.
100%. And I think that's why, bully stick. I gotta get it out of here. It's just too much. It's too much noise. I think that's why my problem with the word, why the word church doesn't feel like the right word to me. But then maybe it's exactly the right word. And it's
Maybe it's
these
exactly.
other churches that are using it
Yeah.
wrong, right? Because
Right.
Jesus would be altruistically helping everyone, right? And to me,
Everyone.
that is what God wants us to do, is
Right.
to help everyone without any expectation of acknowledgement or reward or anything else coming back to me, right? Like just for the sake of helping. And I think that's on their like mission statement on their website, right? I mean, that's what they're about. They're about justice, community action, equality, inclusivity in the community, in the state. They're part of like all the state stuff that's going on, right? I mean, I think that it's more than within themselves. In
Right.
fact,
Serving their
it's all
membership.
within themselves. I mean, they do say you're welcome here, but it feels from what I know so far, like their objectives are totally like external, like making the world a better place.
Making the world a better place rather than using the word ministry to actually, now let me figure out how to say this, to take care of the business of the church. For instance, the ministry to the cleaning ministry that cleans the bathrooms. So it's outsourced, but it's a ministry. So you're volunteering, they're getting their bathrooms cleaned for free.
Interesting. Okay.
The landscape and there's a cleanup crew. They had a cleanup ministry, which of course I also like to clean. So I volunteered to go to the church and do repairs, like repairs on, you know, fixing the chairs or like, yeah.
I'm right here, but this dog is, I mean, really, this is amateur hour, but go ahead.
And I'm sure this church also has a team of people who volunteer to help maintain and, you know, keep the organization running, the building running. That makes perfect sense. But that's not the only thing that they're doing. And I know that, you know, for the church I'm thinking about, I know that's not the only thing they're doing. And they're sending people out into the world to help. But it's with the idea or with the expectation that these people are going to become believers,
right,
and add to this kind of riches in heaven, an external, like a separate place where they're building up their stockpile or their storehouse of riches based on the work that they do here, where we're just, you know, this church, I'm not saying we, but the church, that church is just doing the work to make the earth, the world, a better place.
Yeah.
For now, not for eternity.
Right.
But for now.
Right. Right. And not proclaiming to know the truth. They don't. Right. And I think that's another thing with the more traditional churches that rubs me the wrong way, is like trying to get people, like you said, to believe, to become a member, to like, you know, see the light. Like all these people don't know the truth, and I'm going to tell them the truth, and I'm going to make them believe. Like, why are you so sure you know the truth? Like, and that rubs me the wrong way. And I didn't get any.
For sure.
I didn't
get any of that.
Humanity, community, social justice, all these things. That's what I got out of it, and I loved it.
I loved it. It was such a, like, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to feel.
Yeah.
It was nonstop.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you this too. I wrote this down. My favorite, so I have two favorite movies and they're tied for first. One of them is Braveheart, which came out in 1994.
Okay.
And I was in the throes of college, and I saw it, how many times? 9 times in the theaters. That was a lot of money back then, and 3 hours each time. So that's 27 hours sitting in a theater. One of them was a drive-in. I've seen it. I don't even know. I can recount the entire thing. I can quote it. Scott and I daily on literally every single day, we say something from that movie. It's part of our natural like exchange. It's weird.
I've seen it 0 times, by the way.
I highly recommend. My other favorite movie is The Greatest Showman.
Really?
And so, yes, I love it. In fact, I had it on before we started, and I was in my bathroom dancing and just, feeling so good. And gosh, it feels so good. I love it so much, and can feel like my whole countenance like being uplifted.
Yeah.
but I loved how they were going to show us this. I don't know if you've seen this rehearsal. Of course, I've seen it because I watched every single background YouTube video pertaining to The Greatest Showman because I was that obsessed.
Oh.
But there is they mentioned a rehearsal that they couldn't show for copyright issues, I think. The rehearsal where the singer Kiala, I think her name is Kiala Settle, is practicing, I think for first time singing the song "This Is Me." Have you seen this movie?
Yeah, I've seen the movie. Yeah.
Okay, so you know the song
piece.
No, so you know the song "This Is Me," where she's speaking about her life and how people are throwing bullets at her spirit, and she's just going to stand in who she is, and just honestly offering permission for all of us just to be who we are. And in this rehearsal, they're around a table, and she's so timid at first and so nervous to kind of give it her all, and then of course she kind of explodes into this song, and it's just like this whole body chill experience for me anyway. I don't know if everybody experiences it like that, but I love that they reference that, and that this song meant something to the minister because it means something very personal to me.
Yeah,
there was so much correlation with my the LGBTQ community. I think is really like a group of people that I've heard of who really identify with this song. And I know it's important in our family, and you need to watch it. I highly recommend. It's on YouTube. I'll find the link and I'll send it to you so you can do the work.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I liked it too. And I think once things open up again, I may just have to go there in person. But till then, I'll watch the Zooms.
Yeah, I love that I can have access to a place like that.
Yeah.
Over Zoom.
Anything good has come out of this pandemic, right? This is one of them, that we have access to things online that we wouldn't otherwise have. They just wouldn't have done this.
No, I think it's been really innovative. And I think that's the beautiful thing about human beings, is that when we're faced with adversity, we have the beautiful ability to adapt and to create new ways of living and new systems. And I mean, you see it's evidenced everywhere if you go out, and because of this pandemic and what we've had to do. And I think the Zoom thing has been such a beautiful byproduct of that. As much as I'm sure people who are on Zoom every day are so fucking over it, right? I know. Over it.
It's fine. Without Zoom, I would be on a conference call. That's what we used to call it, remember? Right. Conference call, and it's a speakerphone, and I can't see anyone's face. And we interrupt each other a lot on the Zoom, but on the phone, it was even worse, right? Because at least on the Zoom, you can see someone's body language, like getting ready to, but on the call, just the speakerphone situation, you never knew. So it is better.
It is better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I have a ton of experience with it, but I love this time with you. I'm really grateful that you shared this church with me. And I don't know that I would have checked it out without you being kind of the impetus to that, and us agreeing to talk about it afterward. I don't know that I would actually have done it because I've had kind of weird feelings about really stepping outside of a real Christian based church.
Right. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't have looked into it much further either, except that you hearing about your experience and your deconstruction and the questioning and the way that your family was treated by your previous church. There's no accidents, right? Like, you're talking to me about this stuff. My therapist is recommending this OWL program for my daughter, right? And the spark ignites, and I just start looking at. I didn't know. I was like, maybe this might be something. I don't know. Let me see. And it totally is. It's totally what we needed right this second. It's what we both needed, I think. And again, there's no accidents. This is totally on purpose.
Totally. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, I'm going to stop
All right.
recording. May I?
Okay. Yeah.
Final words?
Mother, may I? I just hope you have a wonderful day. Today's ML King Jr. Day.
Oh,
And just kind of meditating on his life and story without jumping onto Instagram and posting a quote that is, I've done that before, and learning from beautiful people who are so generous in teaching us these lessons that we need to do better and really spend more time, I think, internally learning and not being so showy about it, as though, look at me and how progressed I am. And
yeah.
yeah.
Right. And one quote that doesn't mean what you think it means. And
Right.
I know someone told me, I think it was, I don't know, it was a few MLK days ago, but people hated him. Like white people at the time, unless you were part of the civil rights movement, I mean, he was not beloved the way that we now think that he was, right? Like he didn't become a hero to white people until way after. And we've rewritten the history to say, oh, we always supported him, right? We white people, we always had his back, but it's not true. That is not true. He was radical and he had radical ideas.
Who else was radical that we can name? Jesus, right? And what the fuck happened to him? He was executed. And I love the rewriting of the story, right? Let's rewrite this story. Oh, he came to die for our sins, to shed his blood for the sins of the world. And I'm sorry, he pissed so many people off that they had no choice. They couldn't. They were so jealous of him because he still maintained his peace. He still had love in his heart, and he fucked with the system. Yeah. And so they killed him, much like Martin Luther King Jr.
Right.
We never love the radical ones in real time.
No.
It's always in retrospect that we go, oh shit, they had it down. They had it down.
Right.
Yeah.
So are we brave enough now to stand up and to risk being hated, right? I mean, to your point of social media, to say things that we know to be true at the risk of causing some chatter behind our backs, right? And text messages or judgment, right? Not wanting to be seen as weird or crazy, right? That's what I'm called a lot. Like, she's crazy. She's so over the top. She's crazy. Well, I think we need to be brave. I think we're called to be brave and to stand up for what we know is right.
Right. And I think it's interesting how God, universe, whatever good name you want to apply, create situations where we, not for everybody, but for the lucky ones like us, situations where we have to rise up to a very specific challenge or, growth period. For me, obviously, that was having a transgender child, which literally turned my world upside down in the most beautiful and magnificent way, where I had no choice but to learn, but to spend time learning about things that I didn't know or understand, so that I could use the very gift of my voice, like you, saying the things that you say and challenging people to do better. Right. And to risk and not without risk, because we open ourselves up for judgment, for gossip. I mean, I know that's been a reality from my world. People talking behind my back, people judging our family, judging me as a mother, and who gives a shit? Because at the end of the day, your path and your journey is where you are supposed to be. Your messaging, is what you're supposed to be speaking about, shedding light. I mean, I learned about so many things from you before I was on this path, because you were the bold one who actually said this shit aloud. Yeah. Right. That's so good. Yeah. It's so good.
Sometimes I just can't control myself, But
I love it.
It's good, right? Someone's got to say it. Yeah.
That's right. Why not us?
Why not us? All right, I'm gonna stop recording, but I want to keep talking to you.
Okay.
So,
Have a good one.
um,
Shalom.